Hello, everyone. I'm Joanna De Ninis, and this is Truth Talk for April 7th, 2026. The topic for today is evil energy. I happen to be watching The Green Mile today on TV. It is a movie where the lead character, John Coffey, is a healer, and he is in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he is accused of a horrific murder that was committed by someone else. And simply because he couldn't effectively communicate and because he felt horrible for what happened and tried to help and couldn't help the two children that were killed, he was presumed to be the killer when he in fact was not. So he goes in the system, which is broken, but he goes in the system and he's on death row. And it takes place in the earlier days. And of course, this is a movie; it's not reality, but it is just an example of what could occur or what has happened like this in some form or fashion. Not exactly, but things like this have happened before. Anyhow, so he is and in the prison or death row, whatever you want to call it, the block that he's on, he it's recognized that he has gifts of healing, and has helped um, more than one person with their sickness or um, their malady. He helped a hamster get revived that was completely dead, and he um, healed one of the guards from an infection. Anyhow, so what happened is once they caught on that he was, you know, this gift from God, basically, they didn't they didn't feel like there was much they could do because the system is what it is. And the guard did try. It was Tom Hanks played the head guard at the time in the movie. He knew what was going to happen, and he felt horrible. And he even had said at one point, what's going to happen when my day comes and I'm judged, and what am I to say to God? And what happened was John Coffey responded and said, "Don't worry about it." He said, basically, because his life was so hard, because he had seen so much evil, and that it just hurt too much, you know, being a healer and only having goodness inside of you. It's disappointing when you see evil all the time, and it's no matter what you do, you can't make things better. He pretty much said, "Don't worry about it. He's had enough." And so to me, this is extremely sad because I think there's a lot of people out there that feel that way. I think what happens is they end up, unfortunately, committing suicide because they realize they live in a world that's broken and they can't fix it, and they're not happy in it. And I believe that that's what happens, especially when we lose hope. So the sad thing is, obviously, John Coffey was put to death. And the way the movie goes, Tom Hanks' character, because he was energy transferred at one point from John Coffey to him, he ended up living a long life, which one might think that's a wonderful thing, but in essence, it was almost a curse because Tom Hanks, Tom Hanks's character had to see a lot of people that he loved pass away, and that's a very lonely feeling. So, anyways, it just brought to my attention how we, unfortunately, good people who do good and mean well oftentimes can't tolerate the way things are for good reason. And therefore, they pretty much hang it up. They've had enough, and it's sad. It is sad because we should be able to enjoy this life and feel like we fit in and feel like there's a place for us and a purpose for us, and we should be able to um, do what we need to do and without um, being crucified or persecuted. We saw this with the Christ story where, Jesus Christ was just trying to spread good word and powers of be were threatened. And so they felt that, he didn't deserve to 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 express freely. And they were okay with seeing him gone. Also not a good thing. We also see where children in schools are constantly bullied. And um, obviously, the person that's bullying them is not doing the right thing and probably very hurt and insecure people themselves. And what happens is they unfairly bring other people or other through fear, have people, bystanders that don't say anything and allow this behavior to continue. And unfortunately, the person being bullied continues to be bullied. This is very sad. Um, I can remember in my school days, I feel really bad for the person that I saw get bullied, and I didn't like it, but I wasn't strong enough to say anything. And it still bothers me today. I wish that that person could know how sorry I am that I didn't stick up for them, because of my own fears. I think if a lot of us felt that way, we'd be living in a different world where people are okay with straying from the norm for what most people do, or I should say, what most followers do. We need more people that are willing to stand on principle for the right thing, whether or not, everybody else, whatever, regardless of what everybody else is doing. We wish that there were people out there that stood for truth and the right thing and spoke up for themselves or other people or in need. You know, evil energy is basically the seven sins of the world, right? The pride or the overinflated ego, greed, lust, envy or jealousy, gluttony, um, wrath, which is uncontrolled feelings of anger, hatred, and revenge. And then there's sloth, which is laziness or spiritual apathy that neglects responsibilities and divine goodness. These are the things that we as humans are capable of, but we're also capable of not feeding into it or allowing it to occur. So we have a choice, and we should be very conscious of our choices. Be mindful and know that, again, cause and effect, what we do, what we put out there, we will in turn receive, right? What goes around comes around, which is the golden rule, right? We ought to put ourselves in other people's shoes to really know what it might feel like um, to be in their shoes. And when we know that, do the right thing. Sometimes people don't know what the right thing is anymore, and that's concerning. Um, After The Green Mile on TV, there was another movie that came up, and it was Silence of the Lambs, which I thought that was ironic because it's just evil and then more evil. But, anyways, Silence of the Lambs is where the lead character, Hannibal Lecter, is a psychopath and serial killer. And he's also a cannibal, which means he eats body parts and of humans that he kills. I would like to think that this doesn't exist, but it does. hopefully in a very, very small percentage of our population, but it does exist. And this is what I think sets us apart from just humans, where I think this is another entity, evil entity that enters our human bodies and takes over. It's definitely a force, a great force that lives on, whether in body or not. Like I said, evil and good exists in all realms, including the spiritual realm. And I think this is an example of evil energy in play. Anyhow, even just watching the movie is just horrific, to see what he can do and what his capabilities are and his sick, twisted ways. I know again, this is a movie, it's an actor, but sick, twisted ways of perceiving things and communicating and acting and behaving. And it just doesn't, it's not normal, right? But clearly not normal. So, I would like to think that I would wish that everyone was capable of rehabilitation, but I think there is certain percentage of people, unfortunately, possessed with this type of evil energy that may not be, unless they went through some type of exorcism. And I do believe in exorcisms. I do believe that they have been done, and I believe that they still exist and are very much necessary. Again, there are forces out there that are beyond our control, and when we are in low vibration, those evil energy attachments or evil forces will take over. So we have to maintain the high vibration, not let that evil energy in, um, not be dependent on drugs and alcohol, which only further calls that type of energy in. I literally have witnessed someone who, within seconds, said one thing, had a certain countenance, and seconds later had a different countenance and said something horrific. And I was just shocked because I just could feel the evil energy force at that moment just switch. So I'm here to tell you I've experienced it. I could see uh how someone was almost, it was almost like dual personality, schizophrenic, one person and then within seconds another good and then in seconds evil. It was mind blowing, but nonetheless I witnessed it and it was shocking. It literally shocked me to my core. So I think we need to be mindful, right, that this stuff exists. Even though I am an idealist and extremely hopeful, I do know that this evil energy or these evil forces, they do exist in our world. And it is up to us to not allow them in, to maintain ourselves in high vibration, to care for ourselves, be healthy, don't have addictions, don't feed addictions. Um, and again, maintain that high frequency, high vibration. And like I said, as individuals, we need to have good intentions and make good choices. And that is a way that we will prevent evil energy or evil forces to exist within us and around us. So I really don't like talking about stuff like this, but I just, like I said, I saw those two movies and I just kind of felt that this is something we should talk about. This is something that we should not ignore. We should not think, oh, it's that's not the case, because it's the truth. These things exist. Evil energy does exist in our realm, in all realms, actually, in our earthly planet, earthly plane, and in the spiritual realm. And it exists everywhere as long as we allow it to. I don't even watch the news. I haven't watched the news in forever. And I only hear the news from other people or if someone in my house has it on and I happen to be passing by, but I don't watch the news because it's too much evil and it's too much bad news and it's oftentimes not the full story and it just doesn't put me in a good vibration. So I don't like to watch it. I mean, yes, it's good to be informed, but literally when I need to know something, someone tells me. Somehow I find out, whether it's social media or someone close to me says something. So that's how I stay in the know. But um, we have to maintain that positive vibration and we should not. We should try not to let the evils of humans, of our humanness creep in. Like those fears, those insecurities, the envy, like I said, the jealousy, the pride, the greed, the lust, we have to keep those at bay. We need to, keep them out of our thought processes and out of our day-to-day lives. We need to see it for what it is and put it away because they exist, but we want to not partake in them, right? So, um, like I said, it just comes down to a choice, a conscious choice decision that we have to make. So, all right, well, that's it for today. It's 8:52 p.m. and thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.